Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another exciting episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He's the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And in the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go, catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana, now they love him in Japan. The worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. And speaking of celestial beings, our guest tonight is a graduate of Flatbacks Wrestling School, and he has some of the coolest gear in professional wrestling. Not only that, he has one of the meanest lariats. That's right. I just saw a match where he actually did a lariat on his opponent and he turned him inside out. Everybody, welcome to the show, the Living Supernova Dante Casanova.
Woo! Thank you. What an introduction. Oh man,
Dante,
that was great.
Thank you very much for agreeing to be on our show. We really appreciate. We're excited to actually have you on the show. Rob saw your gear, and I was thinking, he was like, man, I gotta ask him. Who you said who's a good father? He always has if you watch Dragon Ball, he's always gonna ask you. I think if Goku or whatever, I don't watch it, but was a good father. So he's probably gonna ask you a bunch of stuff about your gear. But how you doing otherwise, man?
Oh man, I'm doing great, man. Just taking it day by day.
Okay. How's everything down there in good old O-Town, Orlando, Florida?
Busy, man. On the way home today was so much traffic.
Yeah, I tell you, it's funny. I've lived in Florida for a total of 7 years. I've been back like 5 times, but I've never really stayed too long in Orlando. I've only been to Kissimmee for like a couple of hours, and I was in Orlando for a couple of hours, but I've been to Tampa more than I've been to Orlando. That's crazy because Orlando has more of the action than Tampa does, in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like Tampa's a watered-down version of Orlando.
Yeah, well, I've heard people have said Tampa is, I guess, for lack of a better term, a more ghetto version of Miami. I've been to Miami before, and I've seen some really crazy places. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think you get any rougher than what I've seen in Miami. And like I said, there's some great places in Miami. Trust me, it's one of my favorite places that I always go when I want to party and just hang out at the beach and so on. But yeah, of course, there's always those rough places that you don't go to unless you need to go there.
No, absolutely. I lived in Miami for like 2 years or so. And once I left, I just never wanted to go back.
Yeah, every time I take that ride across that bridge, Biscayne Boulevard, I'm always smiling because I always know it's gonna be a good time. When I hit South Beach, I chill. I feel like a big shot, I feel like pretty much like Ric Flair, it's about to be some fun times and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, man. So I just saw your match against Rob Killjoy. I saw some clips of it. Man, dude got off lucky, man. I thought once you hit that lariat on him, like the commentator was like, "That's what you call a turducken." And I was like, and I know Rob Killjoy is I think 1/3 of the Ugly Ducklings.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's kind of funny, but that was a serious lariat. I was like, man, this now would have made Stan Hansen or JBL proud, man. Woo. And I thought he was a goner, and he actually got you with a roll up. I was like, man, he might not be lucky next time.
No, definitely not. That match. I love that match for so many reasons, but he definitely got lucky on that one. If we ever get the opportunity to lock up again, it's going to be a different outcome, most definitely.
Yeah, man. Rob Killjoy, you might want to be on the lookout, man. He definitely might. But I'm gonna take a time traveling trip back to the past, and I gotta ask you, man, what was the event or the pay-per-view, or who was that one parent or aunt or uncle that dragged you into the room and said, "Hey, Dante, check this out. You might like it. It's really fun."
Ooh. I can't remember what specifically, like the moment that I fell into it, but I just remember one day my brother was watching TV and if I recall correctly, it was the lead up. I think it was the go home Raw to WrestleMania 23 with Shawn Michaels and John Cena as the main event. And I just remember watching it and I was like, whoa, because at the time I was maybe I want to say 7 or 8, something like that. So I was very impressionable, and like when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my God, what is this? This is just like it blew my mind." And from then on, I just fell in love with it. And I remember my dad wasn't a big fan of wrestling, and so he didn't really care to pay for the pay-per-views. So I remember crying that Sunday because I wasn't able to watch WrestleMania live. And then I went to school the next day, and all my friends were like, "Oh, did you see WrestleMania?" And I was like, "No, I couldn't. My dad didn't let me buy it." So, but that was probably like the beginning of my love for wrestling.
Yeah, that was it's WrestleMania 23. That was 2006, 2007. So that was like
That was seven,
the end
yeah.
of the ruthless aggression era, the beginning of the
Hmm.
PG era, which is like, okay, whatever. But yeah, that was a pretty good WrestleMania. I remember that. Actually, that was the one where I think it was in Detroit, or it was either in Michigan,
Hmm.
or it was in Chicago.
It was Detroit.
Yeah, and I remember that they were comparing it to, because it was the 20th anniversary. I don't know the exact date of WrestleMania 3, where Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant. I remember they were actually comparing Kane body slamming the Great Khali to
Yep.
Hulk
Yep.
Hogan's body slamming Andre the Giant. So I was like, okay, this is pretty neat. But yeah, I forgot what else did they have on. I think it was Shawn Michaels versus John
Uh,
Cena.
yeah, Shawn Michaels John Cena was the main event, and then Undertaker Batista. You said Kane and the Great Khali.
Yeah, and I think, R.I.P. The late great Ashley Massaro versus, I think, Melina. That was
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was that was one at the time. I gotta look up that card. It was so long ago.
I
But yeah,
honestly feel like that WrestleMania is a sleeper WrestleMania because that card was
yeah.
like just stacked, and a lot of people don't really talk about it as much as others.
I would say this. I'm not a Shawn Michaels fan, but any WrestleMania Shawn Michaels is on has been a pretty good one.
You're
I've
not a
never really when
fan?
he No, 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 no. So here's the thing. I'm not a Shawn Michaels fan. I'm not a Marty Jannetty fan. I don't know if you know who that is,
Hmm.
but I'm
No.
a Rockers fan. So the Rockers that was Shawn Michaels' old tag team. So
Right.
anytime they come back together, you know, it's like, yeah, my first favorite tag team is back. And I've never gotten to meet Shawn, but I've had the opportunity to meet Marty, and he was pretty cool. Yeah. So growing up, who are some of your favorites you enjoyed watching? Like, who are some of your inspirations that made you say, I want to do what he's doing or she's doing?
Well, obviously Shawn Michaels, even though you're not a big fan of the solo. But Shawn Michaels, John Cena, obviously top two for me, and I've always enjoyed Randy Orton, Triple H. I never really got to experience Eddie Guerrero because like I started watching after his passing, but I have gone back to rewatch some of his stuff, and he's just one of the greatest. Loved Undertaker, the persona, his just larger than life character. Loved that. Batista, I've always wanted to be as big as him, have his muscles and everything. So just that era of wrestlers.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool era. As a matter of fact, funny thing is that era was like that was the era that gave me my, I think, third or fourth favorite tag team. But even though they were like my third or fourth, I'd say actually my fourth, but they reminded me so much of my first tag, the Rockers, Brian Kendrick and Paul London.
I
I was a
remember watching
huge
them.
fan. I was such a huge fan of those guys, and I was lucky enough to talk to Brian Kendrick on a podcast, and I was lucky enough to meet Paul London in person. Both great guys. I wish they would have done more with that tag team, but yeah, that era. I'll always remember that era. That was one of the things that era gave me. It was that tag team. So
That was definitely a great tag team. I remember watching them with my family because of their high flying abilities. It was just amazing to see what they could do.
oh yeah, and they were so marked on me, even though like they didn't do much with them. Even though they had the tag team titles for like a whole year, they were a very marketable tag team, and I personally think they should have done more with them. But hey, that's the business. I mean, sometimes it's hit or miss.
Right.
But now that you're a fan, you're cheering for your favorites, you're going to the shows, you're watching the pay-per-views and whatnot. How did your journey go from wrestling fan to now the living supernova Dante Casanova? Like, how did that journey go with getting into the wrestling school and everything and all that?
Well, when I was in high school, I actually fell off of wrestling. I stopped watching for a long time because I got caught up with high school activities, whether it was football, whether it was another sport or JROTC at the time. I was just always busy, so I stopped watching for I would say about 4 years or so. But like I still kept up with it. I watched little snippets here and there. I kept up on Twitter or YouTube, whatever, watched clips here and there. So I kind of knew what was going on, but I wasn't like fully invested into it. And then as a senior, I had no idea what I wanted to do with life. I personally didn't like school. I was always great in school. I graduated number 20 out of like 493, I want to say. School came very easy to me, but I just was not a scholar. I didn't like it. Had no interest in it. So I ended up actually joining the Marine Corps Reserves. And so after graduation, I got shipped off to boot camp for the Marine Corps. And I joined the reserve, so I got to come back home, obviously, and do my business there. I ended up doing construction with my father for 3 years. Did not like it. I don't know, it just wasn't for me. I didn't want to do that with my life. So I ended up actually going back to college for, I want to say, a semester right before COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, everything transitioned to onlining. And I wasn't good in school to begin with in person. When you put me in front of a computer, that's just a whole different ball game. So I just lost interest and dropped out eventually because I just couldn't do it no more. And I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with life. I'm doing construction because it pays the bills. It's great money, but I'm absolutely miserable. Don't know what I want to do. Don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I got to do something. And she asked me, she's like, well, what do you like? And at the time, I had jumped back into wrestling maybe a year prior. I was heavily invested. I was up to date with everything. And I was like, well, I'm very much into wrestling and I'm very much into fitness. She said, well, to be into fitness, you got to go back to school. And I was like, yeah, that's not happening because I don't want to go back to school. She said, well, what about wrestling? You ever thought about that? And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, why don't you become a wrestler? And everyone at one point, if you've been into wrestling, you've always thought about maybe wanting to do it, but it always seemed like a far-fetched dream, like something that just isn't obtainable. So then when she told me that, I was like, huh, is it even possible to become a professional wrestler? And I started doing research on Google and I started looking at schools and I started listening to podcasts of other wrestlers on how they became wrestlers. And a lot of them actually shared a lot of similarities with me where they didn't know what they wanted to do, where a lot of them worked pretty garbage jobs that like I was doing. And they said the same thing. Like one day they just snapped out of it and decided to go to a school. And then fast forward so many years or however long it took them. And there they are now signed and doing great things. So I was like, well, if they can do it, I most certainly can do it. So then I found the school, paid my money, trained with them, and then here I am now.
Awesome. And it definitely worked out for you because now you've actually been on AEW Dark. So it's definitely working out for you. It's definitely working out for you right now. And I have a feeling they're going to have you back on real soon. I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of stuff from you, especially like in one of the biggest wrestling hubs in the country, Orlando, Florida. A lot of stuff is popping off over there. And you even got Shine over in Tampa. You got a couple places in Tampa. Tampa's like, what, a stone's throw away, like an hour, 45 minutes away by car. So you're in the right place. So it's definitely working out for you, man. And also, I got to say, before I go any further, man, hey, from one veteran, from a U.S. Navy vet to a Marine Corps vet, I just have to say thank you for your service, man.
Oh, man,
I know it wasn't easy.
Well.
Thanks. Yeah, I know it wasn't easy, man, especially when they have you up at like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, like referees at 6, and you got, y'all have the drill sergeant. We have our RDCs, and they're walking. They have you all in line. They're walking around, and they check your rack. And if anything's out of order, they drop you, or they drop your whole squad, and they make you do like 10, 20 push-ups, and everybody's like all pissed off at you, like, man, you made us get in trouble. Yeah, man.
I remember one time, we had one of our recruits. He I guess he was hungry for food, and after chow one day, he just decided to sneak back to the barracks an extra packet of peanut butter. And our drill instructor, he actually like went through his stuff and found that packet of peanut butter, and he asked them the next morning, "Hey, did you by any chance bring any extra food?" And he was like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "Really?" So he made all of us line up on the line, and then he went to the middle of the barracks and just pulled out from his pocket just an empty peanut butter packet. It was like, "Huh, well, that's interesting because we found this peanut butter packet in your clothes." And he said, and not only that, you just lied to my face. So he made all of us, like, not just, well, no, he didn't punish him. He punished us for him. So we all had to like go out to the sand pit and just do a bunch of exercises like high knees and mountain climbers and planks and all that stuff because he wanted to lie and, bring extra food into the barracks when it's not allowed.
Man, hey, I used to hate those days, man. Oh, geez. I'd be chilling at home watching, because like I said, I'm obviously a wrestling fan, so I'm watching wrestling or watching some movie or something. They're like, yeah, you got to fill out a Liberty report. Yeah, such and such did this, and so now everybody has to suffer. But I'm like, but I didn't do anything. I was in my room at the time. He's not even my roommate. He's like in a whole other room. Like, why man, it was a great experience. I'm thankful for it. I will always be grateful for it, but at the same time, I don't miss certain things about it, man. Oh,
I always tell people the Marine Corps is like the most fun that you never want to have again.
Yeah. So Marine and Navy, I'd say we're one and the same. And actually, I was a corpsman. I was a hospital corpsman. So we went with you guys. Like whenever you guys went to like certain missions, we'd be on there with you because every team needs a medic. They need a doc, as y'all would call us. So yeah, man. So we had a thing called FMTB, and we would actually we went through something like we actually ran the Marine Corps is that the PFT? So you guys run it's a annual or biannual exercise y'all do, and you got to run 3 miles. I think you got to do 20 pull-ups, and I think some push-ups too. Now the push-ups were okay.
The PFT consists of the 3-mile run, but it's all age group based. So whatever your age is, that's like what that determines your reps or time limit for the max set of points you can get. So I know it's a 3-mile run. I think for my age, I just turned 23. Sorry. I think my max time for a perfect score on the 3-mile run is like 18 minutes, I want to say. And then for max set of pull-ups, I think it's 22 or 21. And then we have crunches as well, max set of sit-ups, and that's 115. But I heard that they're implementing planks, and I think that's supposed to substitute sit-ups if you can't do sit-ups, but I might be wrong there. Don't quote me on that because I've never done it.
It's probably true because the Navy's the same thing, that they're getting rid of sit-ups and they're putting in planks. So I'm like, man, I picked the wrong time to get out, because I mean, sit-ups was, so I was good at push-ups, never had a problem with push-ups. Sit-ups, I used to make my minimum. And then of course, when I started my career, I was doing the run, but then all of a sudden, I had a bit of a knee injury. So I was like, they told me you can't do the treadmill anymore, so you can do the bike. And I started to do the bike. I was like, man, this is easy, man. I should have done this since the beginning of my career. But hey, it is what it is. But then I saw I do the planks. I'm like, I could do some planks, man. I mean, just max out on my push-ups and then just do the planks and that's it. as they say, max, max, and then relax, or relax on the bike. But yeah, man, it's probably true. It's probably true. But yeah, so with your Marine Corps training, did it help you with training to become a wrestler? Like in what ways did it?
I say for me, so when you're first learning wrestling, obviously it's a lot of repetition, a lot of bombs, a lot of, practicing, and it can be very, very tiring for someone who's not conditioned for, let's say, long time endurance. So with the Marine Corps, we always say embrace the suck. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. So we endured a lot of, a lot of running, just a lot of long-term physical activities, and then also mentality-wise, it helped us, or helped me, I should say, because a lot of people, when they couldn't get the certain drill that we were doing in wrestling school, they would get flustered and they would get discouraged. Well, me, I've already been through the bottom of the barrel type of training with the Marine Corps, so I've just kind of got like that strong mentality to where it's not gonna it's not gonna make me feel bad about myself, or it's not gonna make me want to quit. So that helped me a lot when it comes to my mental state, and then just the physical endurance that I have from the Marine Corps helped me a lot with that too.
Awesome, that's cool. So you ended up, so they finally gave you the pat on the back, the handshake. They said, okay, you're officially a professional wrestler. You can go ahead and take bookings all over the country, if not all over the world. And now you're on AEW Dark. So what was your mindset with that? AEW Dark, AEW is now like the coolest thing since sliced bread, the hottest thing since cooked food. And you're about to actually perform in front of not just a live audience, but a nationwide audience. What was your mindset? Were you nervous? Were you like, oh, geez, I'm performing in front of not just the audience, but I have veterans like Cody Rhodes and his brother Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall and all these other people here? Or were you like, you know what, I had good training, I got this? Or was it a mixture of both?
Um, I, it was a mixture of both. If you're not nervous, you don't deserve to be in this business because you don't love it enough. If it's something that you really care about, you're going to be nervous no matter how much training you've had, how long you've been in the business. It doesn't matter. If you care for it as much as you say you do, you're going to get nervous every single time. So I obviously, butterflies are running through, but at the end of the day, like I've been properly trained by some of the best coaches in all of America, and I trusted, my skills, and I was nervous, yes, but you take a couple deep breaths, stretch a little bit, you go out there and you do your job like you have in the past.
Awesome, that's cool. That's pretty good advice, actually. Who knows? Maybe if I decide to go to actually jump in the ring, I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit too old, so I mean, Rob here is actually a referee, so he'll probably take that advice. But yeah, but that's pretty good advice right there. So AEW now, you went in there, you did the damn thing and whatnot. What's next for the Living Supernova? Like, what's on? Like, what do you have planned for us, man? Because I got a feeling it's something awesome. But yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously the main goal is to get signed one day. That's the main goal for everyone who's in this business. At least that should be the main goal. So my main goal is honestly just to get signed, but that that's obviously a big goal to have. And I'm very determined to accomplish that goal. But in the meantime, little goals here and there. I plan to win my first championship in the Indies pretty soon. Whether or not the bookers see that in me, I'm going to make them see that in me, because I know for a fact at any given day, I'm one of the best talent in the Indies right now. Like, I'm very confident in what I can do in the ring, and I show that every single time that I step in that ring. It doesn't matter who you are. You lace up your boots same as I do, and at the end of the day, we're going to have a banger of a match. And someday soon, these promoters will see Dante is the real deal. And just little goals like that, make everybody believe in me.
Yeah, I know you'll make it. Once you're consistent, and plus, it's not just WWE anymore. You have so many other promotions out there where you can shine. You have AEW, of course, which you were just on. You have Impact Wrestling. Unfortunately, we recently lost Ring of Honor. Well, we haven't lost them, but they're on hiatus. I hope they come back. But you have MLW. You have also GCW. So there are so many places, and not the GCW in Orlando. I know you know about that GCW, Generation Championship Wrestling. I'm talking about the other GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, and I'm hoping there's a GCW versus GCW real soon. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers. But yeah, there's so many places for you to shine, man. So I got a feeling that they're gonna see a lot of you real soon, man. I always tell people, regardless of whether it's wrestling, I used to be a singer at one point and in a music group, and people laughed at us. People gave us compliments. People said we were trash. People said we were so good. But whatever they told us, we kept on going, kept on improving to the point where we actually ended up recording a cover of a song on national radio in our country, Guyana. So you just gotta keep, being consistent, being persistent, and keeping consistent, and you'll definitely get to where you need to be. And after seeing that lariat that you put on Rob Killjoy, yeah, I got a feeling that you're definitely gonna be one to watch out for, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man. They say anything worth coming or anything worth having isn't easy to come by. So, whether this takes me, a year, 2 years, 10 years, doesn't matter. I'm very determined, and nothing's gonna take that away from me. So I'm gonna keep fighting for this. It's something that I want to do. It's something that I have to do.
Yeah. Well, with a name like the Living Supernova, I would definitely be excited to see somebody with that name. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that because you're in front of me. Like, I like the way that name is the Living Supernova. Rob is probably gonna ask how you got that name real soon when he comes on. But yeah, that's definitely a name to, like, wow, Living Supernova. I gotta see this person, man. Like, I gotta see what they're about, But I just got two more questions before I turn it over to Rob. And my second to last question is, who are your top 5 opponents that you'd want to wrestle in the near future? They could be from anywhere: WWE, AEW, Impact, the Indies, New Japan, anywhere.
Ooh, top 5. I mean, I want to give answers that aren't the easy answers, because anyone can say Kenny Omega, Brian, anyone can say that. I want to face my coach, Sean Spears, on AEW. I want to face him. I feel like we can have a great match. Definitely, he's definitely one of them top 5. Let's see, indie wise, Stomp Marshall. I want to face Stomp Marshall. Right now, he's the GCW Generational Championship. He's the heavyweight champion for them. So I definitely want to face him.
The man that hates wrestling.
Yeah. Stunt. I want to face him 100%. Anthony Katina. I believe he just won the Division Pro Heavyweight Championship here in Orlando. Great wrestler, amazing wrestler. I want to step in the ring with him, absolutely. Let's see who else. I want to face my my former roommate, Stacey Alexander, in a proper match where we have time. We had one match and we only had maybe 5 minutes, so it wasn't the greatest match. I would definitely want to have some time with him. I feel like we can put a good story into that match. Two big guys just going at it. So definitely the Space Cowboy, Stacey Alexander. Let's see who else. And I want me personally right now, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch, technically wise, and like all that, is definitely Randy Orton. I just love everything he does. He's just so smooth with everything he does. So I'd be remiss to not mention him in one of my dream matches.
Cool. Yeah, that's a pretty good list right there. And I definitely hope you get to face all those as well. Randy Orton would definitely be a great opponent. So would Sean Spears. Oh man, those guys. I've always believed in Sean Spears, and I'm like I said, I'm not just saying this because he's your coach and you're in front of me. Like, I always knew the man was destined to do great things in pro wrestling, and he's doing it. Even when I saw him back in, because I tend to be curious, and I'm a huge fan of Cody Rhodes. I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan, and I remembered I actually saw he had a tag team partner by the name of, well, I forgot what name he was going by in WWE, but I was like, this guy, when I saw the videos of him, I was like, this guy isn't bad. Why did WWE let him go? And then they brought him back, and I was like, yes, he's getting another chance. He's definitely gonna shine. And I hope he and Cody Rhodes have like, an encounter, because I'm a sucker for seeing somebody's like past partner, tag team partner, either come back and reunite with them or come back and face them as an opponent. And then he had the whole perfect 10 thing going on, and then boom, they let him go. I'm like, are you serious? Why would you do that? Even Cody said he's one of the best that they should definitely look out for. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know, he's now with AEW. So yeah, definitely that he's definitely doing great things. So my last question before I turn it over to Rob is, when you're in the gym working out or when you're getting ready for a match, what are some songs you like to listen to that get you into that mode to get the job done? That puts you, what songs put you in that zone?
So it really depends, because I have two different gym playlists. I have one gym playlist that's strictly like heavy metal, rock music, stuff like that, and I also have a playlist that is like hip hop, rap, all kinds of stuff like that. But if it's like a max day or if it's like squat day, we're definitely playing some heavy metal. We're playing some Avenged Sevenfold. We're playing some Trivium. We're playing some Pantera. It's something with a hard beat that just I don't know what it is. I could be dog tired. You put on some Avenged Sevenfold, it just courses through my veins. I'm just ready to go in there and attack whatever lift I got coming my way. So definitely some heavy metal for some serious lifting.
Awesome. You are a very arranged man, because my playlist has all, and you're a cultured man too, because you can never go up Avenged Sevenfold and Pantera. But my playlist has, like, it's all jumbled up. You have some Hollywood Undead playing 1 minute, and then it'll be some Carly Rae Jepsen, and then I might have some Wu-Tang Clan playing, and then I'll go over to Seven Dust, and it's just all over the place. So yeah, your place is more range than mine, but hey, whatever gets the job done, whatever knocks those reps out, whatever puts you in that mode, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Rob. I know Rob has some questions for you. So Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, Dante, man? How you doing today?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm well, just hanging out, relaxing with the Beagles, going to do dinner after this, So if you hear my stomach growling or whatever, man, my bad, I'm just a little hungry,
Oh,
how
no
it is.
worries. I just got done eating myself, just a couple chicken breasts, couple egg whites, so my stomach is kind of digesting it. So if you hear my stomach rumbling, I promise you, it's just digesting.
There you go, there you go. Same here, man. So, man, down there in Florida, man, do you ever come across those swamp monsters, man? I always hear about, those alligators and those pythons coming around. See, I'm in Delaware, and what worst we get is like, a couple raccoons or possums, hanging out, like, oh.
So currently I live in Orlando, but my hometown is Winter Haven, which is, I want to say, maybe 45 minutes southwest of Orlando. And right there we're called the Chain of Lakes because we have so many lakes around us, and there's gators everywhere. So, I love gators personally. They're amazing to me. They're complex creatures. So I've definitely had my fair share of encounters with a couple alligators.
Oh man, how'd that go? I mean, were you just walking around, just hanging out, and like, oh, he just, him or her just sitting there, and you're like, oh, just come across them?
Yeah, that's typically how it goes. Like sometimes I'll go for a run or something across a lake or around the lake, I should say. And you just see a 8 foot gator right there just basking in the sun. You keep your distance, but you got to stop and admire it. They're beautiful creatures. So.
That's right. Well, that's where you got to bring somebody with you, and you got to make sure you're faster than that person. You're like, I ain't got to be faster than the gator, just faster than you.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. So I did want to ask, man, about so your merch and stuff, man, and your space merch that you just recently did. Who came up with that idea? Because that's some badass merch, man.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I can't take credit for the design. Actually, Jedi Jack on Instagram, he designed a beautiful, beautiful design for me. Very appreciative to him for that. I just basically told him like, hey, I'm looking for this idea of merch. I wanted me, but not like a realistic me. I wanted kind of cartoonerized, if that's the right word.
Mhm.
But I also want it in a space setting because obviously, the moniker the Living Supernova kind of space related. So I wanted it to be kind of in front of a couple planets, looking, pretty mighty tough as I normally do. And he kept giving me concepts. The whole process took maybe I want to say like 3 weeks, I think. But he was very on top of his game with giving me concepts of what he thought like he would add or what he would take apart, and he just worked with me, and eventually that's what we came up with. And to me personally, it's a beautiful design. I love it. Space Dante is probably one of the greater designs on a shirt that I've seen recently, and that's just not me being biased. I'm just looking at it as in the artwork. The artwork right there that he did is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, yeah, he definitely did a great job. Cause I was looking at that, I was like, "Ooh, man, that yeah, that was great. That was awesome." Now you also has some theme music, man. You got from a former guest of ours, Squirty LaFlo. Man, that
Mhm.
theme music is awesome. You know what I mean? Now, did you go through the similar type deal when you got it with him to do yours? You know, he sent you some stuff, and some of y'all came up with ideas, and came up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sent him up. So originally he asked me, "Who are some theme musics that you like in the past or present?" And I told him like my top five were Seth Rollins, Batista, Kane, and Triple H. Sent me this kind of this rock theme, and it was a great theme. It didn't fit me, I want to say.
Mhm.
So he worked on it maybe for like I want to say less than a week, and I told him like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is a great theme. It just doesn't fit me. He said, hey, no worries, man. We'll start from scratch. So we ended up starting from scratch, and then he said, do you have any idea like any sampling or something like that that you would want your song to sound like? And my gear obviously is heavily inspired from Dragon Ball Z. So I said, well, my favorite character is Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. So I took Vegeta's theme and I sent it to him. I say, I kind of like how in the beginning it has just a bunch of, it sounds like bells. It's just a long bong, bong. And I was like, I like that. It sounds ominous and it sounds like kind of like, kind of like a relaxed monster that if you awaken it, it'll be like destructive. So I was like, I kind of want that. And he's like, say no more. He did his magic, and that's what we ended up coming up with.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, I guess yeah. Now you can hear it, man. You can hear the Dragon Ball Z, inspired stuff in there. It's like, yeah, now okay, now that I think of it. And speaking of that, man, like Remy said earlier, man, I always ask, man, Goku, is he a bad father, or is he just does he just have too much on his plate? I've heard both of them, man. I've heard, man, nah, man, that guy, there's way better people than him. And man, he's saving the world. It takes like 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes for him to charge up, man. He's got a lot on his plate, So, what do you think?
Nah, he's a bad dad, man. You can't abandon your kids like that. He does it so effortlessly. Any chance he gets to go train with King Kai, he'll take it, and he'll be gone for days or months at a time. So I personally think he's a bad dad. But amazing person, just not the best dad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess some people. I guess it ain't meant for some people. I guess or whatever. Uh, so I did get to see, man. Did you get to see the or Halloween, man? Did you get to see the new Halloween movie? I did see you posted something like that, man. Now, did you see it in the theaters or did you get to see it at
No,
home?
I saw it here at my apartment. Yeah, I didn't get to see it in theaters because I don't remember. I know something came up that I wasn't able to go watch in theaters like I had planned, so I ended up watching it at home.
So, what did you think of it, man? Did you enjoy the second one? I know
I
this one's kind of divided people. Like some people
Yeah,
I talk to here like I don't like it, and there's some like, yo, I love it. No, I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. I took it as
I
part two in the third chapter of a story.
yeah, I liked it. I did like it. I just don't like how I get it. Michael Myers is the main character. He's the main focal point. He's supposed to be just this invincible person. But when you get jumped by a crowd like that at the end, I know I'm probably spoiling the movie for some, and I'm sorry. But when you get jumped like that and you just get up like it's nothing, like, come on, man. You've been beaten up throughout a whole franchise. You've been shot at, you've been stabbed, you've been run over. And you can just continue to just keep taking lives like that, like it's nothing and nothing phases you. Like, we gotta have some sort of realism in this. Like, I get it, he's the essence of evil, But come on, man. That's probably the only part that made me, bat an eye and was like, eh. But overall, the movie was amazing. I love the movie. I love Halloween, the Halloween franchise. Definitely my favorite horror franchise.
That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like Halloween too. Jason, he's my guy and all, man. But yeah, I like them all. I like watching them all. That first Friday, or not Friday 13, Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember watching that as a kid. Woo, messed me up bad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was kind of afraid to go to sleep. You know what I mean? I remember if it was dark and I had to use the restroom or something, I would run to the restroom and then hurry up, do my business, and run back. Sprinting. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody getting me in the bathroom. No. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I was never really
So, did
big
you enjoy
into
Halloween,
Nightmare on
man?
Elm Street. I was never really big into Nightmare on Elm Street, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't watch it until very later in my life because I was born in '98, so that movie had come out maybe a decade prior or something like that. So I got late into the game, but it just never really struck with me. I was more into Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, movies like that, but never really Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's cool. Now, did you ever get into what was it, Saw? Did you ever get into that?
I did. I did. I remember one day my dad came home from construction and he had a coworker who he used to trade movies with back when DVDs were a thing. He used to trade DVDs with him and he brought home Saw. And I remember I want to say seven. And I saw the movie, and even as a young kid who maybe didn't quite understand the bigger scope of the movie, it still freaked me out a lot. Especially that hog person, the one that wears that hog mask,
Mm-hmm.
and he just come out and jump scare you. Oh my god, it was the worst. And I used to watch. I love watching movies at nighttime because I feel like at nighttime, you watch a movie, you have a couple popcorn here and there, a couple snacks, and you just off to bed you go. Next day. So I would always watch movies at nighttime, and I watched that movie at nighttime by myself, and it just messed me up. I remember that damn hog creature just messed me up.
Oh yeah, yeah. That first Saw one, man. I remember when it came out. And I remember I took a girl on there. It was our first date, and I remember like, oh yeah, it's a scary movie scene. It was like, oh yeah, yeah, jumping me. I remember like 10 minutes in that movie, everybody's just like at the screen, like, all right, who's did it? Who did it? And at the end, I remember at the end, everybody just when the dude came up and stuff, nobody
Yeah,
saw that
yeah,
coming. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I was like, man, I bet you it was that orderly dude that did it, man. I bet you, man. And then he was like, oh, he's doing this. And I was like, I told you. And it was like, no, it wasn't him. I was like, who did this? And then home dude got out. I was like, all
Yeah.
right. Now, if it would have been Robin Hood, the dude that played Robin Hood, Men in Tights, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. But they had to cut his foot off. I was like, all right. Now I did see the newer one, not the Chris Rock one, but the other one before that. It was Jigsaw. It was actually pretty good. It wasn't too bad.
yeah, I mean, there's been so many Saw movies that a lot of it gets repetitive and whatnot. Like, yeah, some of the traps are different, but a lot of them, have some of the same elements. And at this point, we're used to a lot of twists and turns in the Saw movies, so kind of got numb to it, to be quite honest with you. So, it didn't really hit. It didn't really hit home with me that much as the originals did.
That's kind of like what the Fast and Furious movies do with me, man.
Absolutely.
They're all. I mean, they're good movies and all, but sometimes my friends, they'll be like, man, remember the one with it? I'm like, which one is that? Was it like eight? Sitting there like, no, it's four. Oh, okay, yep, okay, yeah. I'm like, all right, yeah, I
Right.
got you. I mean, they're
Yeah.
good movies, I mean, I enjoy them, but yeah, I'll get confused, and I'm like, all right, yeah, they all blend together. It's like, all right,
Absolutely.
that's right. Now with you wrestling and stuff, man, doing the marine, doing your strength training there, man. Did you have what we call in the country? You don't have strength, you have strength. Like, you go out there. I was watching some of your matches. You're hitting people with delayed suplexes. You know what I mean? Just like press slamming people up there, man. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of was that? That marine training you doing? Helping you out doing that?
Um, in the Marine Corps, we don't really do a whole lot of heavy lifting per se. We do a lot of functional strength. So a lot of our lifting is like, yeah, it's like very taxing on the body, but we are functional at the end of the day. So the Marine Corps, it's different from actual strength training. My strength comes from strength training in the gym. So I'm just in the gym, pressing weight, hitting bench, hitting squats, hitting shoulder presses and whatnot. So that's where my strength comes from.
That's pretty cool, man. That's good. Yeah, man. Cause yeah, I'm watching now. I'm like, whoo, yeah, man. Oh, man, that's wild. Man, I can't imagine doing that, man. Yeah, I have to, start stepping my game up, man. Start eating, eating more and working out a little more, man. I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do. Be like you, man. Yeah, man. You had 2 chicken breasts for dinner. I guess I'm gonna have to, step it up, eat 3 or 4. Get on that rock diet meal or something, man. Like that.
I'm actually cutting right now. I'm actually right now I am weighing I think I maxed out at 237. My goal was to hit 250, but I started like balling up. I started losing a lot of definition and started just getting big. And I'm not really big into that. Like, yeah, I want to get big, but I also want to keep some resemblance of my cuts and whatnot. So I hit 237. I plateaued there for the last maybe 3 weeks. And I was like, you know what? Let me just cut down for the remainder of the year. I'm gonna shoot for 220, 215 ish, and then beginning of next year, I'll start getting big again. I'll start bulking up again.
That's what's up. Yeah, because I've always heard, like, especially with abs, man, it's not, training or whatever. It's the more diet. Like with
Yep,
abs, it's
absolutely.
more of your diet. You could be like, you could lift as much as you want, man, but you can still just like not have really abs. It's a lot of diet. Like, okay. So I feel good for the
Absolutely.
one ab I have, hiding up here, trying to accentuate, help out, When I go to the beach, I rub baby oil on it, so everybody can see it.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with
That's
you.
right. So, man, when you're being a Marine and stuff, man, those MREs, did you have to do a lot of those, eat a lot of those back there? And I watch these YouTube channels of those guys, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try this MRE, and which one was the worst and which one was the best? You know what I mean? 'Cause I think he had like a spinach one was like, this one was god awful, man. I bet people were like, yo, and then there was like a taco one, taco chili, and they were like, yeah, this one's real good and stuff. Like,
So he is absolutely correct. The spinach fettuccine is the most god awful thing I've ever
mm,
encountered in the civilian and the military life. That I refuse. I could be stuck in the field for 7 days straight, and they can give me 7 straight MREs of spinach fettuccine. I would rather starve and eat dirt or something. I will not eat spinach fettuccine. That is not something I will ever eat ever again. I ate that one time. That was it. That's all I needed. So spinach fettuccine MREs, disgusting. Definitely in the bottom of the barrel. Um, I want to say Chilean mac MRE is one of the best ones, but I've eaten it so much that I'm so very much like accustomed to it, and it just doesn't hit the same with me. So at one point it was the best, but I think me personally, I love the jalapeno beef patty. Jalapeno beef
mm,
patty is one of the greatest MREs out there. You heat that up in a little heater that we get. You put some of that jalapeno cheese spread with some crushed red pepper flakes. It is amazing.
oh, nice, that's awesome.
Get that pepperoni pizza one too.
Hey, that's a miss for me. That's a miss for me, man.
Yeah, the one, and then there's one that comes with strawberry milk. And I remember one time we were in our FMTB training, and our instructor, we were all waiting to go into the gas chamber, and we're all resting because they say whenever you get a chance, rest, because it's intense training. So we're all resting, waiting our time. And he's talking about different MREs. And so he mentioned the pepperoni pizza MRE. He said that how, if you take the chocolate chip cookie that comes with MRE and crushed up and put it in the strawberry milk, it tastes good. And he said, I think it comes with the pepperoni pizza MRE. And everybody started getting up and saying, yo, that MRE is fire, man. And so he starts going into drills. He starts going into drill sergeant when he's like, you see how you guys are such fat bodies? You're sleeping, and I start talking about the pepperoni pizza MRE, and you guys wake up just to say it's fire.
Yeah, man. Two things military personnel know how to do. We know how to eat and we know how to sleep. That's two things we are the best at in any given situation.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, man. I've kind of wanted to try them, order them, like go camping with the family and stuff. But like my mom, dad, grandparents, and all, they bring like so much food with them anyway. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but I kind of want to take it, try it for being curious, because my dad said he used to have them when he was a kid. Like he go camping with my grandparents and all. And he said, but it was crazy. He said back then, like you get an MRE or whatever, and it would come with cigarettes, like a pack of cigarettes in there, back then. Like yeah, you get it and it'd have like like chili mac, all your size, and then here's your drink and here's a pack of cigarettes for you and stuff. It's like wow, and he was like yeah, and I remember seeing on YouTube people doing that. They pull it out and it's like 50-year-old, Camel unfiltered cigarettes, and they're like man, all right. let's smoke this. I'm like, oh, that's gotta be the worst. Like, oh man, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, no, we don't get those anymore. That's the first I've ever heard of that. Actually, I've never heard of that, so that's interesting. That's interesting to me.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, yeah. I'm like, yeah, just throw that out. And then the dude was like, no, I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm like, all right, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know about all that. Oh man. So I gotta ask, are you ready for your next show? Do you have one coming up? Is there anything? Are you booked up for the rest of the year?
So I'm booked up for the next, I want to say 5 or 6 weeks. Obviously we have the holidays coming, so a lot of promotions aren't really running during Thanksgiving or during New Year's or Christmas. So obviously those weeks are not booked at the moment. But I am booked up for the remainder of the year for the most part. I got a couple of shows coming up for this month. I got next week, not that I'm off this week. Next week I have 2 shows, one Saturday and one Sunday. So I am pretty busy.
Oh, that's pretty good. So where are you going to be at next week?
Next Saturday, I'm gonna be in Grovesville. Is it Grovesville? I think it's Grovesville. For local pro wrestling, and then the following day, I will be in, I think, Largo for Tampa Pro Wrestling.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, man. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah, everybody, getting ready for the holidays. I mean, all that good stuff. Yeah. So, speaking of that, are you ready for the holidays?
I am actually. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm currently cutting right now, so uh, I just got out of the bulking phase. So when I was bulking, I was eating 6 to 7 times a day. Every 2.5, 3 hours, I was eating a lot of food. And now that I'm cutting, I have resulted to maybe 2 meals a day, and I'm just constantly hungry. And if I'm bored, I would just eat. And I try to stay busy so I don't eat. So, but in the holidays, obviously, you want to enjoy the holidays with family. You want to enjoy the festivities, the food. So I'm very much looking forward to that food. I am going to bust down with no regrets whatsoever.
That's right. Yeah. When November first hit, it was I started thinking of that meme, where the woman's at church, she's like beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes. You know what I mean? I'm like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. You know what I mean? I heard there was going to be might be a turkey shortage and all. I'm fine with that. I'm not the biggest fan of turkey. I'm like, yo, mom, you cook a Thanksgiving meatloaf, or we can get a rotisserie chicken. I'm good with that. As long as we have the sides. I want some,
Yeah,
all that stuff, the yams, mac and cheese, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, get the
absolutely.
sides.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause my pop, he was saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, I don't care about turkey either, man. As long as I have some sides, you know what I mean? I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm gonna throw whatever you want up there. I'm like, yeah, same here.
Well, see, with me, I'm Mexican, so we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving like normal people do. Like, yeah, every now and then we'll have like family get-togethers and we'll have food, but we don't have like traditional food. Every now and then we'll have a turkey or whatever, but we just whatever we're really feeling that day. Sometimes it's tamales, sometimes it's I don't know, menudo, which is a soup that we make. It just varies on what most. Usually, we spend it with my tia, my aunt. So it's whatever she really wants to cook. But she is a master chef in the kitchen. So whatever she cooks, I'm always looking forward to it. Some of that Mexican food, good old fashioned food.
Oh man, oh I love Mexican food. You get me
Woo.
jealous.
Hey, I'm a sucker for some horchata and also some
Hmm.
Jamaica. Oh
Yeah,
man, you just
absolutely.
don't know.
Oh yeah. That's making my stomach growl even more. Just mentioning all that stuff. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go get some. I'm gonna have to go to the restaurant now or something. Oh man. So yeah, before I pass it on back to Remy, man, I gotta ask, being in wrestling and in the military, man, are there any, funny stories you can share with us, that have happened to you along the way? I mean, you can change the name to protect the innocent if you need to.
um, Not really. I mean, there are some funny stories that it just as I've told these stories along the way, I've noticed that a lot of these stories are you have to be there moment. Like it's not
Mm,
funny to just explain it. You have to actually live
gotcha.
it. I remember when I was in boot camp, there was obviously we have our drill instructors. We have the senior drill instructor who is the one mainly in charge. He's the basically the master of the barracks room. And then you have his three other. It's typically three drill instructors who are below him, but they're still in charge of us. That way, not all the responsibility gets dealt to just one person. It's split up. So we have our drill instructors or whatever, and sometimes some of them would be doing other tasks that they have to do, while maybe one or two drill instructors are left with the recruits. And I remember at the time, my platoon specifically, we had like 2 or 3 drill instructors in training stop by and stay with us for a couple of days, maybe a week or so. I remember this one drill instructor in particular. He was I think he was training, or he had just got out of training and had just become a drill instructor. So they were testing him. And I remember we had all got done showering. So we were in line waiting to be inspected, because every time you shower, you have to get inspected to make sure you're still healthy. You don't got any bacteria on you or any fungus or whatever the heck they're looking for, to make sure you're still healthy and you don't infect everybody else. So I remember we were all in line getting inspected. And typically a brand new drill instructor, they're very hot and ready. They want to make a statement. They're like, hey, I'm here. You need to fear me. That way we can get this job done. And I'm capable. I can show that I'm capable of my job. So he was just hot and ready. He was just yelling at everybody. He was running all over the place. And like I said, we had just got done showering. So the floor was very wet. And he's just hauling tail all over the place. And I remember he was yelling at somebody in front of me. And he had this accent. I couldn't quite make out the accent, but it was funny to me. And you're forbidden to laugh in boot camp. And I snickered to myself, and he heard me, and he just looked back at me with such disgust and just charged at me. And I froze in place as he's charging at me, but the floor was wet. So he just completely slipped and spread eagled right in front of me. And it was the funniest thing, because he tried to get back up, but as he's trying to get up, he's slipping on more water. So he's just face planting every single time. And I am dying of laughter. People around me are dying of laughter. It was just the funniest thing, because when you're in boot camp, you're terrified of your drill instructors. You see them as this godly being, and you think of them as indestructible and just hardcore killers. So when you see one of them just face plant in front of you multiple times, you just can't help but laugh. So that's one of my favorite memories I have of the Marine Corps, is just seeing this brand new drill instructor just face plant right in front of me, as I'm in a towel, waiting to be inspected.
Yeah. Oh man, I bet he was. Did y'all have to do a lot of exercises after that? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Laughing.
we got punished. We got
But it's probably worth
murdered.
it though to see it though,
Oh, it
right?
was
You're like, all right,
absolutely
it is
worth
kind
it.
of worth it.
Absolutely worth it. That story lives on with my platoon. Like I'm still in contact with some of the people that I graduated with, and every now and then we'll be like, hey, you remember this drill instructor just face planted in front of us? And it's amazing.
Oh, I can't imagine that. You have some guy, like Arlie Ermy in a, Full Metal Jacket, and he comes out there, and whoop, whoop, you're like, oh man, yep. Everybody's private joker now, you know what I mean? All right, let's go.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's great. So yeah, man. Before I pass it on back to Remy, I do want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, come on chat with us. I definitely had a blast chatting with you, hearing all these cool stories. I wish you nothing but the best, man. I wish you start winning the gold everywhere you go, man. I wish you nothing but success, the rest of this year and all that, man. Going forward, man.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. It was an honor and a blast to talk to you. I really appreciate the kind words.
Dante, thank you very much, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on our show. Actually, one of our listeners has one more question. This is from Susia David, 64. He's asking, how tall are you?
I know exactly what this is, too. Oh, man. I'm 6'2".
Okay. He's 6'2", Susia, David. But yeah. But thank you very much. I know you're busy, man. You got a lot of things going on. The holidays are coming up, and also, you got, you're planning your next step in professional wrestling and so on. But I just gotta say, I hope everything that you're aiming for happens for you. I hope you get to wrestle all the people you want to wrestle, and eventually, I hope you actually get signed. Hope maybe we'll see, Dante Casanova as property of WWE Performance Center, or Dante Casanova is elite. Or Dante Casanova has signed to MLW. We've seen it happen. I mean, we've had Red Velvet. She got signed to AEW. Thunder Rosa, she got signed to AEW. A fellow, I don't know if you know this guy, Danny Limelight. He's a fellow Marine. He recently got signed to MLW. Yeah, and he's been on AEW Dark as well. And well, unfortunately, she got released. But we've had AQA, and we've had other people that have gone on to WWE and AEW and even bigger things. So we definitely wish the best for you as well. And it's actually a great time to be a wrestler or a wrestling fan, because there's so many promotions and so many ways you can get exposure in pro wrestling as well. But with that being said, it's about time for us to shut down this show. But before we do so, Dante, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out when your next appearance is? Where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for the shows? And also, where can fans find you when they want to purchase the Living Supernova merchandise? and all that good
So
stuff?
on Instagram, I'm at the Dante Casanova, THE Dante Casanova, all one word. On Twitter, I'm at _ Dante Casanova _ Facebook, I'm just at Dante Casanova. For bookings and inquiries, you can either go on either of those, or you can go on my email at realdantecasanova@gmail.com. As for the merch, I have a store in Teespring. It's the pinned tweet, or not the pinned tweet, the pinned link on my Instagram. You click on that in my bio, and it'll take you to my store. You can buy the Space Dante shirt, or you can buy the Living Supernova shirt, whichever you choose. And just thank you for the support, and thank you for continuing to watch me and follow me on my journey. We're gonna do big things.
Awesome. So y'all definitely make sure y'all follow this man. Make sure you cop some merch. He's not just doing it for himself. He's doing it for the love of the game. If you can't make his shows, this is another way you can actually support indie wrestling, is by purchasing Dante Casanova, a Living Supernova shirt. Trust me, if you're a real fan, you support indie wrestling.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Rob Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, the Cheech to my Chong, the Sean Spencer to my Burton Guster, where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, if they want to purchase Rob Bass merchandise, because you're a referee now, so, and also where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows as well?
All right, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Rob_Bass82, and then Facebook and YouTube Rob Bass.
Awesome. And promoters, if you pay him an extra $20 and a hamburger, he'll give you the Nick Patrick special where he makes the count, and he actually has a neck pain and one else he can't make the other. So yeah, he'll definitely do that for you. Just treat him right. But with that being said, if y'all want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter under @TheRemyBlue, and you can also find me on Facebook under Remy Blue. That's my alias. I don't have a lot of cool things to say, but who knows? Maybe you get lucky and hear me say something cool. But our podcast is also on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter under @Ringside Society. We're also on Twitch under @Ringside Society 2019. We also have a Facebook group named Ringside Society. Just look us up and you can definitely join it. And we're also on YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. And this is actually one of our platforms where we stream. And so just go ahead and type in Ringside Society. Once you see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the dark blue, with the blue flames around it, that's us. Just go ahead and subscribe to all our videos, because we got a lot of cool interviews coming up, and we got a lot of cool interviews from the past, like this one, like with Avery Bro, Cameron Stewart, Cameron Walker, Stacey Alexander, and so many more. So definitely subscribe to us. You will not be disappointed. And we also have a Teespring store as well. Yes, we actually sell Ringside Society merch, and we have regular shirts. We have tank tops for the summer. We have long sleeve shirts for the cold weather coming up. We even have hoodies because now it's hoodie season. So, and we also have coffee mugs. Yes, we have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. So definitely go ahead and check us out. Get some merch. All proceeds from those sales go back into keeping this show afloat. It does not go back into our pockets. Trust me. I'm still eating hamburger helper, and Rob is still eating Kool-Aid sandwiches. The struggle is real. So yeah. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight live. We really and truly appreciate it. To those of y'all that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at a Golden Corral and Rob Bass at a taco festival, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. That's the truth. So with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we here at Ringside Society are very well and aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the man with one of the meanest lariats in the wrestling game. Man, if he ever said, hand over your money or you'll feel the light, I'll be like, yo, take my wallet, take whatever, just leave me alone. The Living Supernova Dante Casanova.
Woo! We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, and we will be back this Friday with another amazing guest. But until then, we're still going through a pandemic. So until the pandemic is completely gone, stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.